Hey lovelies, welcome to my channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you're not. My name is Leah and on this channel we do a lot of random shit. Usually I vlog, but today I'm branching out into the, I would say sit down, but I'm standing, videos and talking directly to camera. Hopefully I don't sound too robotic with my script. Today's topic, the books I read in 2024. Now, up until 23, I was a self-help non-fiction reader through and through. That is until Squelch introduced me to a certain genre of fiction and I've been hooked ever since. So my reading is now a mix of non-fiction, how to improve your life and finances, and run your business. And then on the flip side, you've got some of the most fucked up smut you've ever come across in your life. There is no in between. So without further ado, let's get into 2024's list of books I've read. This year I've read a total of 28 books. 21 of them were fiction and the remaining 7 were non-fiction. The non-fiction books were a mix of self-help, business and learning styles, and to be honest, I don't really remember much about them. One of them, The E-Myth, did not finish for me because I just wasn't enjoying the way it was written. I think the book could have contained some great insights into why businesses fail or prosper, and I get the premise of working on your business, not working in your business, but that book was just not for me. I've popped up the books on the screen with their respective ratings out of 5. I would say anything that's a 4 or above I would read again, but a 3 and below I wouldn't bother. Now onto the juicy parts of this video, the fiction books. I read 16 dark romances, 4 fantasy with a bit of romance, and 1 lit RPG in the fiction category. According to my Goodreads roundup, I scored these books 5 stars. And my favourite genre was dark romance. Let's start with the oldest books I read, which were the Lost Souls MC 1 and 2 called Malice and Surrender by Brooklyn Cross. Loved these 2 books, would be high up on my recommended list. The female lead character, Rain, just wants to get on with her life, but everyone around her is trying to make it complicated. From people coming back from her past to the gorgeous bartender at her job. Just make sure you read the trigger warnings. These books are not for the faint-hearted. Next up we have the Fae of the Satanist series by Lee Kelsey. Heir of Ruin, Heart of Thorns and Kiss of Iron. There are 4 total books in this series, but I just couldn't bring myself to read the 4th. They are good books that get better the further you read, but just didn't have the dark romance element I'm looking for. Moving on to the next book I read, which was Castle Core by R.U. Ruff, which is my one and only lit RPG book. But it also marketed as a dark harem. I thought this book was well written and had plenty of adventure type scenarios throughout. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars and I'll probably reread myself if I was ever inclined to in the future. Now, this book I read because it was being hyped up all over BookTok and Instagram Reels. People were saying it was the spiciest thing they've ever read. They can't believe what happened, yada yada. I'll be honest, this one was a bit of a disappointment for me. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I just felt like this was the slowest of slow burns and nothing really ever happened. I don't know about the subsequent books in the series because I couldn't justify reading those after reading this one. I rated it at 3 out of 5 stars, so it was just an alright book, but I wouldn't read it again. The next series I read was Spine Ridge University books 1, 2 and 3 by Clarissa Wilde. Now, not only did I love these books, I rated 2 out of 3 of them 5 stars. The other is a 4. The fact that the author gives you a playlist of songs for each book is just magical in my opinion. Reading these books and listening to the songs at the same time was just all sorts of special and really got me into the books. I love the fact that all the books were connected in one way or another, but the first one really hooked me in. Having looked at the reviews for the series, it seems to be a bit of a mixed bag. I guess these books are like Marmite. You either love them or hate them. Next book is a bit of a random one, also from BookTok, called Unhinged by Vera Valentine. As I said, this book is so random. It's a small book at only 71 pages, so you could probably read that in about an hour or so. Just read the blurb if you want to get a good feel for this story. It's marketed as a paranormal romance. I rated it 3 out of 5, so I probably wouldn't read it again personally. Next up, we have one of the books I rated 5 out of 5. The Bad Guy, written by Celia Aaron. It's probably the book I shouldn't like due to all the chaos, but I loved it. The blurb is written from Sebastian's perspective, but the actual book has 3 different viewpoints. The female main character, Camille, and the main male character, Sebastian, and another male main character called Link. Oh my days, this series of books really got to me, a bit like The Handmaid's Tale got to me. I couldn't keep watching it. It's the Acquisition series by Celia Aaron. These are some good books, well written with gripping plot points. It just got in my head. Even though I rated these 4 and 3 stars, I wouldn't read them again. Just thinking about the acquisition has my blood running cold. These 2 books in the Sick Boy series are written by Lucy Smoke and are called Pretty Little Savage and Stone Cold Queen. I loved the female lead character in this book. Avalon is just so badass. She does what she wants when she wants, much to the dismay of the Sick Boys, as they're lovingly known. This next book was a great one, The Director by Renee Rose. I really enjoyed the book. The mystery around the beginning hooked me right in. Would definitely recommend and reread in the future. The reviews again seem to be very mixed on this one. Might not be for everyone. The next 2 books are also written by Renee Rose and their Vegas Underground series, King of Diamonds and Jack of Spades. There are a few more in the series that I haven't read yet, but they're on my TBR for 2025. But so far these books are alright. I will keep reading the series just to see what happens, but it's not my favourite read of all time. Some standout books for me were The Lost Souls MC 1 and 2, Malice and Surrender by Brooklyn Cross, Spine Ridge University 1, 2 and 3, which was Sick Boys, Evil Boys and Vile Boys by Clarissa Wilde, Sick Boys 1 and 2, which is Pretty Little Savage and Stone Cold Queen by Lucy Smoke, and The Bad Guy by Celia Aaron. Well, that was an interesting ride down memory lane. Thank you for joining me today. Let me know in the comments, what was the best book you read this year? Fiction or non-fiction, it doesn't matter. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by pushing that thumbs up button. Make sure to hit subscribe while you're down there too, as I have a bit more of a schedule now that I'm trying to stick to. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!